Alright, Shalom. First off, give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Karkadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring in truth and in sincerity, and the women and children who follow. So as you can see, this lesson is about morality, really. The difference between, moral, immoral, unmoral, and amoral. Which, by definition, we're right here on the etymology of the word moral. It says, from the mid 14th century, associated with or characterized by right behavior. So, which is basically, being according to the scriptures, going off the scriptures, in line with the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Those are your morals. All right, those are the guidelines that you use to guide your life. Okay, if it was a football field, those would be, the white lines on the sidelines. Those would be the sidelines. So if you go outside of the white lines or outside of those morals, you're out of bounds. Okay? It says good or bad. So, there's no middle ground. It's either good or it's bad. Alright, you can't tiptoe the fence. It says, and from Old French moral, and directly from Latin moralis, proper behavior of a person in society, literally pertaining to manners. Okay? How you conduct yourself. Proper behavior. Okay, so it says, coined by Cicero to translate the Greek ethikos, and from the Latin mos, which is one's disposition, and plural, mores, customs, manners, morals. Alright, so let's give an example of someone who has some pretty good morals and just did what the scriptures told him to, or what the Most High told him to. In this case, so this is Genesis 22. It says, we're gonna read down on this. Might skip around a little bit. Genesis 22:1, it says, and it came to pass after these things that the Most High did tempt Abraham, and said unto him, Abraham, and he said, behold, here I am. And he said, take now thy son, thy only son Isaac, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell of thee. And Abraham rose up early in the morning. It didn't say Abraham talked back. It didn't say Abraham was like, no, Lord, I don't know about that. His morality is, or, his job was to do what the Lord told him. Not second guess. Not question what the Most High objective was in doing this, or try to figure out the big picture or the plan. Most High said do it, so he did it. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and saddled his ass, and took two of his young men with them, and Isaac his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up and went unto the place which the Most High had told him. Then on the third day Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place afar off. And Abraham said unto his young men, abide ye here with the ass, and I am come, and I and the lad will go yonder to worship, and come again to you. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it upon Isaac his son, and he took the fire in his hand and a knife, and they went both of them together. And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father, and said, my father. And he said, here I am, my son. And he said, behold, the fire and the wood, but where's the lamb for a burnt offering? And Abraham said, my son, the Most High will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together. And they came to a place which the Most High had told told him of, and Abraham built an altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac his son, and laid him on an altar upon the wood. And Abraham stretched forth his hand, and took the knife to slay his son. And the angel of the Lord called out unto him out of the heaven, and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here I am. And he said, Lay not thine hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him, for now I know that thou fearest the Most High, seeing thou hast not withheld thy son, thy only son, from me. Okay? So he just did what the Most High told him to do. He didn't question it. His only son that he loved. I mean, he had Ishmael, but this is his son by his wife. This is his heritage, and he was up in age at this point, and the Most High said to do it, so Abraham was ready to execute. All right, that's good. That's having good morals. You can go into many other examples of people that just stuck with the scriptures, man. Doing what the story tell you, or not the story, doing what the laws tell you to do. Okay, so I got a little article here. This is hold up. This is amoral versus immoral versus unmoral, and what's the difference? And this is from writingexplained.org. Alright, so we're going to jump around. It says, morality is a slippery subject. It concerns the difference between right and wrong. Unfortunately, many people see right and wrong differently, especially if they come from different cultures. A variety of perspectives can foster healthy and meaningful debate, but a poorly calibrated moral compass can also lead someone to cause a great deal of suffering. Okay, as Esau does. Esau has no moral compass at all. Esau is the sword of the Lord. Okay, he's been put here to turn the world upside down, and that's exactly how it is. Okay, it says, since there is more than one way for an action or principle to lack morality, English has several words for something that is not moral. Okay, and that's one thing I wanted to get into, because, like I said before, morality is black or white. It's either good or it's bad. But because we're using this bastard tongue English, and because of Esau, the devil in the flesh, okay, he puts out all these fake words, this new speak, and all this jibber jabber and bullshit that will lead you to believe otherwise, and it will have you going off just because you listen to the devil. It says the most common ones are amoral, immoral, and unmoral. Many writers confuse these words, but they have enunciated meanings and should be used carefully. All right, what's the difference between amoral, immoral, and unmoral? When to use immoral. We're just going to jump down. It says to be immoral is to violate moral standards. Like I said, to go outside of those white lines, you're out of bounds now. It says immoral is an adjective. Something that is immoral is evil or wrong. It means failing to adhere to moral standards. Okay? You're outside of the scriptures. If the scriptures say you don't eat pork, and you eating pork, then that's an immoral act. You're wrong. Okay? Let me see if I Alright, here we go. This is immoral from the etymology online etymology dictionary. It says from the 1650s, not consistent with moral law or standards, ethically wrong, from a simulated form of in, which is not, plus moral, not moral, basically. In like it. In legal language, it tends to mean merely contrary to the common good or reasonable order. So you're contrary to the common good. All right, you're bad for business. Okay, so let's go back to. It says here are some examples. Stealing someone's car is immoral. Furthermore, we will never be pressured into it because bowing to well-meaning special interest groups. Hold on. Let me see. It says to be immoral implies acting or thinking in a way that violates one's conscious morality. In other words, the person should have known better, but did it anyways. And I couldn't have put it better myself. That's the best definition that we've got so far of immoral. You should have known better. You knew not to do it. But like a nigga, you did it anyways. And that's one thing that our people are suffering from as well as the rest of the world. But what the scriptures say, because justice is not executed speedily, is fully set in their hearts to do wicked. Okay, people know that they shouldn't be doing it, but because they don't see that there's going to be a consequence, they do it anyways. All right, and that's the society that we're living in, and that's what's going to get this place, destroyed. Okay, and in an unmoral way, and you'll see why I say that. This place is going to be destroyed in an unmoral way, according to the so-called white man. So when to use amoral. So to be amoral is to have no sense of right and wrong. Which, what grown man doesn't have a sense of right and wrong? Okay, they say, well, we'll go ahead, we'll get into it. It says, like immoral, amoral is a adjective. It means not influenced by right or wrong. If a person who is immoral acts against his conscience, the person who is amoral doesn't have a conscience to act against in the first place. So they use an example of like an infant. It's said to be amoral since they have not yet developed the brain capacity to understand right or wrong. But the Most High, He puts it in us from birth. It says the scriptures say that they came out as soon as they be born speaking lies. Okay, so damn, this infants are amoral. Okay, because your spirit is who you are. It is purest when you are a child. Because if you're born a little devil, you was a little devil baby. But if you was born a righteous, that's when you're gonna be at your peak. I know, speaking on myself, I'm not gonna say I was an angel as a child, but before I had learned behaviors of doing shit that I shouldn't have been doing, I would say I was a pretty good person. We all pieces of shit, and we all have our righteousness as filthy rags. But at the end of the day, everyone is born with a moral compass, and the righteous is going to be pointing up, and the wicked is going to be pointing down. You're either going to go the right way, or you're going to go the wrong way, And there is no such thing as I don't have a conscience to know whether I'm doing good or whether I'm doing bad. They say like serial killers or whatnot don't have a moral compass. So they don't know whether what they're doing is right or whether they're doing is wrong, which is bullshit. If the floor says it's a wet floor, you know not to go running in there and track up the floor. You can't. Oh, I don't have a conscience. I didn't know. That's that Edomite bullshit. It says infants could be said to be amoral since they have not yet developed the brain capacity to understand right or wrong. Some extreme psychopaths are also amoral since they lack conscience as a result of a cognitive disorder. Yeah, it's called Edomite's disease. This is go kill everybody. You're the sword. That's what you're for. So let me see. In other words, an immoral person has a sense of right and wrong, but fails to live up to those moral standards. An amoral person has no sense of right and wrong and doesn't recognize any moral standard. That's complete bullshit. But let's move on to the last one, which is unmoral. It says, what does unmoral mean? Unmoral is a third adjective. It refers to something which is right and wrong. It refers to something which right and wrong are not applicable, such as animals, forces of nature, and machines. So, like an ICBM, it's right and wrong. It don't care. It doesn't care. It's like they say, a bullet doesn't have no name on it. It's unmoral. And this place is going to be wiped out unmorally for the immoral stuff that's going on against the morals of the Bible. Because they say forces of nature are unmoral, but it says the Most High control the tempest, the thunders and the lightnings and all of that. So even that, is coming from the Most High. He's doing it for a reason. And these ICBMs, they're going to come over here for a reason as well, to wipe this place clean. So it says, hurricanes are unmoral since they are formed by unconscious natural processes that exist outside the bounds of morality. But the Most High controls that. So he, in his wisdom and all his righteousness and morality, creates those hurricanes to come and fuck up who is supposed to fuck up. Same as a bullet, same as a missile, same as a tornado, and so on and so forth. The wicked was created for the days of evil. So I think that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, I did have another example of immoral that I wanted to get, which is Matthew 26, and we're gonna jump around. Yeah, so this is Matthew 26. I'm going to start at 14. It says, and then one of the 12, called Judas Iscariot, went unto the chief priests, and said unto them, what will ye give me, and I will deliver him unto you, talking about Yahushai. And they covenanted with him for 30 pieces of silver. So he sold out Yahushai for 30 pieces of silver. It says, and from that time, he saw an opportunity to betray him. That was an immoral act. Just so that you can come up on some change, you gave up, Yahushai, the lamb. And of course, everything was supposed to happen the way that it happened. And maybe he was trying to, force the Lord's hand to come back and destroy the Roman soldiers and whatnot. But at the end of the day, it was an immoral act. And when you read down, Bear with me. So now, verse 36, during the garden of Gethsemane, um, he's praying. They fell asleep. Okay, right here, 45, verse 45, it says, Then cometh he to his disciples, and saith unto them, Sleep on now, and take your rest. Behold, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. It says, Rise, let us be going. Behold, he is at the hand that doeth betray me. And while he yet spake, lo, Judas, one of the 12, came, and with him a great multitude of swords and staves from the chief priests and the elders of the people. Now he that betrayed him gave him a sign, saying, Whomsoever I shall kiss, the same as he, hold him fast. And forthwith he came to Yahushua and said, Hail, Master, and kissed him. And Yahushua said unto him, Friend, wherefore art thou come? Then came they and laid hands on Yahushua and took him. And behold, one of them which were with Yahushua stretched out his hands and drew his sword and struck the servant of the high priest and smote off his ear. Hold on. I want to get to the point. It's a pretty long chapter. Matter of fact, it's actually the next chapter. Yeah, okay. Chapter 27, verse 1, it says, When the morning was come, all the chief priests and the elders of the people took counsel against Yahushua to put him to death. And when they had bound him, they led him away and delivered him into Pontius Pilate, the governor. Then Judas, which had betrayed him, when he saw that he was condemned, repented himself. Why did he repent himself? Because he knew that he did an immoral act. He knew he went outside of those white lines, outside the boundaries, and he repented. It says, and brought again the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and the elders. He wanted to give them their money back, but you can't just undo that act that you did. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction, and no sin goes unpunished. So, you made your bed, now you gotta lie in it. It says, and the chief priest took the silver pieces and said, It is not lawful for to put them into the treasury, because it is the price of blood. They paid for blood with that money, the blood of the Lord. And they took counsel and brought with them the potter's field to bury strangers in. Wherefore that field was called the field of blood unto this day. Okay, then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremy the prophet, saying, And they took 30 pieces of silver, the price of him that was valued, whom they, the children of Israel, did value. Okay, and they gave for the potter's field as the Lord appointed me. Alright, so he hung himself. Okay, and they buried him in the potter's field. It's like, I think I jumped that part somehow. Verse 4 saying I have sinned in that, and I have betrayed the innocent blood. And they said, What is that to us? See thou to that. And he cast down the pieces of silver in the temple and departed and went and hanged himself. Okay? So Judas hung himself because of the immoral act that he did, and it plagued his conscience so much that he knew that he just gave up the Son of the Most High. So he said, I might as well just end it now, because of the immorality. But that's really all I wanted to get into. So I hope now you understand the difference. And like I said, beware of that new speed, because Esau, he'll come with some amoral, or he also uses what's it called, asexual. You know, you're no sex. You're not a male or a female. You're asexual. But that's Esau. Esau comes up with all this bullshit and these doctrines to try to throw Jake off. But we are not. We're not going to fall for the wiles of the devil, man. With that being said, we give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Karkadash, the honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring in truth and sincerity, women and the children who follow. Shalom.